Hi, my friends. I have done a deep analysis of what hypnosis is and also how they try to brainwash us through the government and the beast system. Now it's been over the course of several years because I've done a lot of festivals and have seen a lot of things about hypnosis and seen people hypnotized. And I used to study a little bit about this when I was in college and stuff like that. So I want to give you about how people become easily programmed through religion, through music, and through the system, the B system, everything like this. Okay. So, and you have to bear with me. It's going to be kind of long, so I hope that you get something of value of this. And also, I'm kind of tired. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. But I want to get this done because I finally, all the years, I kind of put the pieces together. Now, this helps us understand, how people are brainwashed. And so it gives a glimpse into even the movie called, with they live, right? And then it says where has the glasses obey and stuff like that. Okay. Now, so right off the bat, when you understand that hypnosis is just the power of suggestion. So that person has to be willing to accept the things that come into. And unfortunately, we do see that a lot in society, that these people are willing to accept very readily through their personal behaviors and ways. They'll accept it in. They'll accept it in for many reasons because it makes them feel comfortable. It's easier way of going. They'll adopt the beast system through government because they're getting a benefit or reward for it. And I think even demonic possessions can be because a person, it's the easier way out. Now, I'm not trying to insult them, but they feel more comfortable with accepting these things in. It's the power of their free will. See, you're a free spirit and you're a God and creator, and so you have free will, but you give away that free will because it's easier to adopt something outside of yourself. The outer becomes your inner, in a sense, where we're supposed to be from the inner to outer into that balance. So the inner, that you're strong with your core values, your integrity, your respect of yourself, the love of yourself, and also the love of the creator, God, and the other ones, and one another, brothers and sisters. I hope that makes sense. So you're a free-willed soul. That's why you're a prize sought after soul in this world, because even by I want to keep this positive light, even by the misguided ones. Remember, I'll explain that later, why we don't want to use negative words. The misguided ones want to use you because, and they want to get control of that, and that's what is honorable to our God and Creator and to Lord and all the other ones, is that we'll fight for those truths and we'll fight to be free, and we'll help others break out of this matrix, the cell system, to be free souls, and so that we can help guide people breaking out of the thing that's written in Spartacus and through many people, even Plato. They want breaking free for the truth, that you cannot trap us, and we'll fight to the end for the truth, right? The Lord did that. He unfortunately paid a high price to bring those truths to us. So thank you, Lord, for the sacrifices you made to want to bring us the truth, right? And there's many people that God has shown examples of that fought for the truths and freedoms, and that they stood their ground because they represent the God's truth and freedom and love and things like this. Okay, so anyway, so let's go back to hypnosis now. I was trying to break it up about hypnoses, and I don't know if that actually, you could probably find something about that. But the reason I brought this up right a while is the definition of trance-like state that resembles sleep but is induced by a person who's suggestive or really accepted by a subject. Well, the trance-like state that we're seeing these people, they've kind of been zombitized, right? I'm not trying to insult them. We've seen zombies walking around. They've adopted in now. Now, this trance-like state can also be induced by, certain medications or drugs and certain things like this. And that's why also we see them, I gotta be very careful, with the Flintstones jabba jabba ruse, because they've been programmed that that's the right thing to do, and they're accepting that. And I bucked it right from the start, and I see people who's not even religious who are bucking the jabba jabba ruse and bubblegum chewings, right? So I have to use careful since I don't want my channel to be banned, right? And so also God, Creator, Lord, and everyone else in the high command, please make sure that I said the truth, because I don't want this thing to be banned, and protect this thing because I want to speak the truth about from the good side, right? So I'm gonna. You do use prayer because it does help us, by the way, and it's the truth. All right. So I pray that gets that you help protect this video, and if not, stop it, delete it, break it down before I get into a bad situation with this thing for all the brothers and sisters, and also for the children of this world that need the truth brought forward. Okay. So anyway, it's a condition of they're able to sleep. Well, they're kind of asleep, they're not awake, right? The whole system, the whole system we're seeing is everybody's asleep and you're fully awake. That's why we're watching these videos, and that's why you're trying to partake in making a difference in this world, and trying to help other people and things like that. That's why we're here. That's why we're kind of like angels in flesh and whatever, even it doesn't matter what our title is. We're just here to help, right? Some say the first fruits. Well, so be it that it is. Whatever. I'm here to help. I don't want care about first fruit, a second fruit, a fourth. I don't care if I'm cleaning the bathroom on the Noah's Ark. It's a part of being a part of this. And I think the side for doing this, it's tough, it's rough, but we take it with humble pride, right? Okay. So anyway, so you can go down here. I'll be real quick with this because you understand what the definition is. So he underwent hypnosis to treat his fear of water. Now, it is true that some people automatically can, that there's people who've quit smoking, things like this. So hypnosis could be seen as the intent behind a positive thing, where it's one of those things where we immediately say, oh, hypnosis is terrifying and wrong and shouldn't do this. Well, you shouldn't hypnotize people, but maybe you're just taking what's naturally in their heart and their soul and bringing it out and making it into positives. So that's what we're trying to do this world, take all those days of positives. So it's intense. So, maybe churches might say hypnosis is probably an evil thing, but then again, it's not necessarily if you're taking what's already natural in the person's human being and just helping coast them along a little bit to be more positive, right? But at the same time, hypnosis can be used as a negative, right? To program the people and give them the power of suggestions, and I'll go through that here in a second. But it's already innate in their nature to be caring, loving, things like this, or quit smoking, or something to their natural desire. For some reason, to have a little personal wall, a barrier that's a little bit of help with. And that's why the Lord kind of sometimes said, you've been forgiven for your sins, because the little extra boost that let them accept themselves and be a part of moving forward. You've been forgiven for your sins, because that lets them release all that guilt and that frustration they had, that somebody outside of themselves said, it's okay, you're going to be okay. You made some mistakes, which we've all done, because heck, I'm a sinner, right? So I made some mistakes, right? And and that's the thing is that sometimes you need somebody else to say, it's okay, Kirk, because you're being too hard on yourself. Even though Father and Lord, I really appreciate this, and sometimes you criticize yourself too well. That was a direct message from the Lord and the Father to me, which I thank you, our Creator, and thank you for doing that to me, because sometimes we can't be perfect. And they said, they just did it like 2 or 3 days ago. They sent me a message that says, Kirk, you're criticizing yourself too much. You're being too hard on yourself, because otherwise you get trapped in that loop and you kind of just blow you up. So thank you. I really appreciate that message that they sent me, because I was like trying to do the best I could, and I was being critiqued, and that's where you got to be careful, because I wasn't sure, and the same thing about don't criticize other people too well, as long as they're trying, right? Nothing's worse than somebody criticizing when you're already trying to make a change. And there's the issue sometimes with the Catholic Church, with the man behind the curtain, the barrier between you and God, or for forgiveness, where you have to go and get Hail Marys, get beaten with a bat again. It's like, well, you got to do some Hail Marys, you just rotten person, bang, 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 hit you on the head. It's like, well, you're trying to change. It should be more like, you made some mistakes, we all do, just, go out there and try to do better, and not, don't get beat by a bat again. And you can do this yourself, but some people need that extra encouragement to go to the windows, hey, Father, I have sinned, and blah, 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 and stuff like this. So that's okay. It's, like I said, but anyway, so we'll stick on this. So hypnotism was, so I'm going to show you how, here's ways, the thing is you can be hypnotized through sleep and things like that. There are certain, I can't mention certain stores, they play music in a certain way to hypnotize you, to get you to buy things. Sometimes they slow you down, relax you. Elevator music, even in malls. I mean, you're constantly being bombarded by hypnotism wherever you're walking around. Signs, these, and buy this, pay that, billboards. It's all spells and hypnotizing. It's everywhere you go. Music, radio stations. I mean, it's a surprise that we can even function with the normal free will with our brains. You think about it. And so we've been so programmed in society that I still fall into, things got to be this certain way, which they won't. And that's what we're going to work on, about trying how to change this world. And I'm going to explain that to you. And somebody said, how do we beat this MP system, B system? Well, they're all you, brother and sisters, everything like that. I'm trying to get some videos that, but I'm trying to make sure I confirm that I don't cause damage to this and move forward properly. So I will be doing videos on that, but I need to make sure I have a clear understanding how to properly answer the questions, because I'm still a junior Jedi at this, and I need to become a master my own domain, my own house, and my own ways to do this before I can coach you. And this is so unique that it blows my mind. It's not even really part of scripture. It's a whole new like song, dance, and things that we need to do. It blows my mind. It's got a little bit new age into it, in a sense, in a good way. It's got a whole mix of all this philosophies and things, and religious aspects that we've been given. Even Mandela effect is involved in this. So I was like, whoa, it's so mind-boggling that it's hard to accept. So I need to make sure that we do this, and we're doing this the proper way. So I'll be working on that too. I've been putting hints out there. If different, I told you about cars, let the good time roll. It's actually about the Mandela effect, okay? About how let the illusions lift you up in the air. Use those illusions that they're throwing out at us, is to use them to our advantage, to be able to take advantage in helping people and things like this. I mean, the Mandela effect is one of the biggest things that woke me up. So thank you, our God creator, and everybody that's involved in the Mandela effect, because people are cussing at and horrifying. But I tell you what, I wouldn't be here today without that thing. It's like, why is everything such a bad illusion? I mean, what is going on here? I mean, so really that was my first keys. It woke me up. I can't thank them enough for that darn thing. The great deception, also great and awakening, what that is from your God and your creator, by the way. So thank you, our God and your creator. That just blows my mind, right? So so that's enough about hypnosis. So it's a power suggestion. It's, even as in school they told us power suggestion. Now I'm going to go back to it just briefly, because I have to. There's so much about this, that when I was in high school, that a science teacher surprisingly was talking about the power of hypnosis, about the power of suggestion. And he took several of his classmates and he tried to hypnotize me, and it didn't work. And so he's showing an example how some it works and some it don't, depending on whether they're suggested to it. And so, and I did briefly, like, one thing I would take, but the next level where he tried to do something else, like, well, actually, he did actually, okay, I got to clarify that's not true. I did actually, I did do some of the things he said, because he said, something like lift a pencil up, right? And I did that. And then he said, but I was completely aware of what I was doing, that I knew he wasn't in control of me. That's, it wasn't like a complete puppet. So I do correct that. I was taking those power suggestions. I was myself. And so, and I think, he used me because he knew out of everybody in the class, he knew that I was more receptive to trusting him, right? So I actually did more than anybody else, other than whether he didn't take it too far. He said Kirk is one that is very he trusts me. And I did have a good relationship with him too. See, there's the problem is when you're in a friendship or things is the power of suggestion. They said they're going to have myself in their best interest to do the right things for me. So I'm going to accept what they're doing. I'm going to do what they say. I kind of feel that's the wrong thing to do. There's where you got to be careful, because you can have, there's more noise. The real volume just come down. All right. So anyway, so when you trust somebody, it also can be somebody who's in a power position, like, a coach or this and that. That's why you hear these horrifying stories that got used, because they took that hypnosis and they trusted you. And sometimes it has to be physical, it can be mental, where you have somebody who's trying to tell you in certain ways, well, you should hate that person, or you should do this, or you shouldn't like them, or you should have done it this way, because that way you got even with them. And you know what I mean? So we do with people we feel comfortable with, right? And it can be, it can be a parent, it can be anybody, right? It can be a friend that's trying to, take advantage of that and hypnotize you. So hypnotism is happening all the time around the world. That's what you want to be aware of. It's not when somebody just gets up on the stage and makes them do some song and dance. It's happening all the time. So be careful on the people around you. I've had some brothers and sisters in my, contact my YouTube channel saying, you need to repent or do this and that. I'm like, don't hypnotize me. You often take care of yourself or do something better. You know what I mean? So when I go back to this classroom, so I'm standing there from the class, and he eventually says, I want you to fall back in my arms with your eyes closed. And I thought, oh my gosh, you have a kidney at the moment. I can remember this day. I mean, you got to realize that's like, 30 some years ago, right? I said, you got to be kidding me. He wants me to, with my eyes closed, to trust that he's going to catch me. What if he lets me hit my head on the ground, right? Well, I did trust him, and I fell backwards, and he caught me. And he said, see, Kirk, he trusts me. And this is what I need a psychiatry class. This is the normal scientist guy that we studied, a lot about animals, biology, and just general science and electricity and things like that in high school, right? But a very great individual, a great guy, right? And so anyway, that's what I did. So when I first said I did not take the cyst, I took it in the sense that I was suggestible, but I still kept my wall and barriers up, right? It's kind of like sometimes in the society, I do certain things to fit in to it, but I wouldn't take the full suggestion where I actually harm somebody else or myself in that situation. I would have stood up, and the first minute that I felt uncomfortable from what he's doing, like if you said take a pencil and slap Susie on the head, or I stopped right there and said, no, wait, but there are people who do this. After that suggestion, they would bam, and see, that's what we see, bam, that's even, the thing is, I don't want to get demonic possession. That's some of the things that probably happen to demonic possession is that they feel revenge, and that suggestion comes in. They said, well, I'm going to go ahead and be a partake and let that demon go ahead and push that forward because that makes me feel good or whatever, right? So anyway, so that's about the hypnosis. Now, there's so much to say. It's a trance-like state, like I said. Now, I also want to show you something here that you have to bear with me. I mean, the word bear is the beast system. Why you have to bear with me? You have to accept the bear, the big beast, the bear. There's all this analogies and phonics and stuff in this. So I wanted to show you that. What was I going to show you? I'm sorry for this, but it takes me a minute. I want to show you that even the system. It is true that there was here the national anthem. Now you can look this up. Now I don't want to go through the whole thing. That it actually has coded in there to hypnotize you as well. That you can search for this, but basically, because the sign off was encoded to program us. Or is it? Well, let's see, there's several about the sign-off. Well, it talks about how obey and consume, obey, and they actually play that before the TV station would go off at night to program you in, right, into the system, obey this and that and stuff like that. So you got to realize in the lettering, you'd flip here. So take a look into that. I don't know if you've seen this. It's kind of, see, even somebody says obey and consume. It said that right there. A good patriotic video to end, obey, consume day, right? So, and also in the words, the whole thing was set up for you to obey your government and obey the beast system and do these things like this, right? It's kind of shocking truth, but that was in your sign-off television that to do this. Like I said, you're being programmed every direction. Even reverse wording can be, reversing songs and stuff like that. It's true to it's everyone bites the dust says it's fun to smoke marijuana in reverse. It does. It's very clear. It's fun to smoke marijuana. Everyone bites the dust. It says it's fun to smoke marijuana in reverse. I remember that from a long time ago. So I want to make sure you get everything in here cleanly about numbness. Now, I'm going to play some video about this that I recorded that from from my gallery that I don't want to upload that I talk about this guy who's doing hypnosis in there. So I'm going to play that, okay? And I'm going to let it run through for 2 minutes because it's just hard for me to stitch it in when I'm on the road and just things like that. So I'm going to put this in here real quick, all right? So listen to what I say, because this talks about, think about a little deeper than what I'm saying, that, great way to hypnotize people is bring them in every Sunday And, I'm not trying to blast the churches. They do serve a purpose. There's why you have to be very careful. It's the intent of that church and what's happening and what the people are doing. Because these churches do a wonderful thing. God wouldn't have them there if it wasn't for a reason, right? So, but I want you to listen to what I say, because some of them get indoctrinated into the system through the churches. And there's our problem.
What's interesting about this is that I realize he's telling them to relax. So if you allow natural beauty to flow out versus all the stress, the tension, the fences they build around the barriers. It's hypnotist. I came here to hypnotize the hypnotist as a joke. Now, not to impair things, long story behind that. But so I came here for this. So then tell them to relax. So if you relax and not fight in the world and that's what's hate, you relax and you can find the love that's naturally in you, the beauty, and all these other things as well. And also, since power of suggestion is the suggestion of love and peace, it's already naturally these people's hearts. They put barriers, walls, and fences, and fighting for just love, right? So hypnotized by the world, right? The world, every one of these people, I was hypnotized to sleep and not awake. So now that they're relaxed, they're hypnotized, they're awake. But the only thing that's wrong with this, not wrong, but it's just to have fun. Now that power of suggestion, you'll see people do crazy things that I normally wouldn't do. That's because the expectations, the crowds didn't have any expectations of you or to think about who you were. So, it's like, I was drunk. See, that's the thing, I was hypnotized. So, but be your natural beauty. I mean, don't be too crazy, right? But, just give out that's flow naturally. Instead of letting yourself flow naturally. And some people think crazy. They said, man, he's insane because they're not used to you having fun, laughter, and this dark world, right? So make sure that you come with this watch. And I don't know, I can't stay here too long because I want to keep moving. There's so much to see and so many places to be. And he also used a song, Every Breath You Take, right there. The song. See, use a song, something they can associate with. That's what I've learned, to attract the people get into our love and peace with us, and our God, our Creator. You got to use a hunted to be. So trying to relate to them some way. I've learned to relate with people like from gangsters to whatever, in prison, jails, people have been beat up by churches. So I find a common ground, right? And then, and sometimes it's just music. Music's really easy to find a common ground with people. Everybody loves music almost, right? Over sports or anything else. So common ground is, hey, that's a great song. Maybe this and that. Everybody will hear there. I'm sorry, too loud. Sorry. I made noise. So anyway, I'll be quiet.
It's getting smaller. Smaller still a tiny dog.
I'm not allowed to record this too much because he's trying to surprise. Someone cut this short here in a minute. He said no recording, which I don't understand that. Why not record? Because you're doing the right things. I'm going to flow from God, creator, whatever. And you actually might get more people to see in person because every show is different. But some real policy. Okay. Right. Okay. So I'm going to stop this because I'm supposed to record, right?
Okay, let me say one more thing about that. See, there's a thing called key words, right? And that's what I've been telling everybody, that we need to change the definition of words like what hate, evil, because we invented those words and the definitions, the Phoenicians. So the thing is, keywords, don't you? It's the key to somebody's heart or key to program them. And this individual, I was studying his way he used, and he used keywords like from lyrics, which is interesting, with songs that you're familiar with. So he would say a certain sequence of 2 or 3 words to get you to open up and get in, unlock into your being. Who you're open up your soul a little bit and start working you. See, because I noticed some of the songs he word that immediately caused a reaction, a feeling, so he could get control of you. And sometimes you use those key words, like politicians will use those to get your trust and things like that. So I was trying to think of a song that I can tell you right now that you'd immediately have some kind of emotion or feeling with that I could open up your heart with. So let's try a peaceful one versus naughty one. I'm trying to think Somewhere Over the Rainbow or something. Somewhere Over the Rainbow. So I'm just using that example to immediately put you in a state of mind, a calmness or a thing. That's why music is a very great hypnotizer. And also just using the key words, it brings that person immediately into that situation. Now, could we walk around and start humming and singing and dancing? Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-a. My, what a wonderful day. That's what every day we should be like, right? So if I went, hey, nice to meet you, have a zippity-doo-dah day, I don't know what the reaction I get from somebody. Maybe they're happy. Say, oh, well, thank you. Maybe I will. And maybe that's the things we do. We go around hypnotizing people with the ways, the words we choose, and things like that. And hypnotizing in a good sense, right? So, Zip, you see what I say? You have a good day. I'm already kind of hypnotizing, putting a power suggestion in you. I'm suggesting you have a great day. So make sure that happens. Remember that one person, all of a sudden they may interact with 20 people, and pretty soon you've impacted the entire neighborhood, right? But if you go up to somebody and say, hey, you a-hole, or you stupid bot, you know what I mean? Now I've pissed, well, I shouldn't say that, I don't like that word. Now I've made them angry, and now all of a sudden they go around and all of a sudden they go to the gas station, they take off somebody else, and pretty soon the other person's driving the highway flipping somebody off. So pretty soon, see how your negativity can spread like a ripple in the ocean too, that it's a pyramid thing of just negativity that you spread around the world. So remember, not only your thoughts, your actions, your behaviors, even from just a simple interaction with one person, can cause the whole day to be damaged, and probably even tomorrow of the week, depending how it grows like a virus in the system, right? And that's why we see some negativity. That's why they try to turnkey your heart back and forth and flip it over, and also with the news, we're going to get you upset, so you go around and spread that upsetness. You keep on pushing and being negative every day. That's why just one of the best things that happen if we could just turn the news off and just click that sucker off and blow it up, unless it was good positive news. But very rarely do you see positive news. They always put just a little bit in there to keep you watching, make you feel good. So if you broke it down, maybe, like the newscast, I'll have something like a cute dog, some of my story, 1 out of 90%. See how they always just the one little thing to keep you still in a positive mode, and just one little bit of truth, even just to keep you tucked into there, so you're not completely hypnotized or awake. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to bring into, is this it? I'm trying to be careful. No, that's is this it? Well, I'm sorry, because I apologize, but I've got to make sure. I got to go this way, and
I realize the church is the same way. That's, you come to church, you're relaxed, you're calm, and it's where people need to take a time out. And that's why they're easy to make them obey power suggestion. Not saying churches are bad, but it's a great way that you can control the people through religion by, just by they're calm, they're relaxed, and the noise of the world, and they can focus on you, which is that relief, that peace in there. Not saying it's a bad thing whatsoever. I'm just saying churches are good places to go there and escape from the world, and get away from the noise, and know there's something beside this place to find tranquility, peace. Not just the worship, just to find somewhere, something where I can be silent with my family. See, at home we're always fighting, and so much fog, TV, distractions, this and that. The church is a place to just come to calmness with the family, and have the kids actually sit there out of respect, because I couldn't get the respect. Now I know how I can. I think I know how, but it never takes sucks when it's me.
Okay, one more thing I want to bring up too is also that you can hypnotize yourself. It's called self-fulfilling prophecy, right? That you'll tend to sometimes downgrade yourself and keep beating yourself up and going over again until you're hypnotizing yourself. You're creating a circle loop within your inner being, right? So you got to make sure you break those things as well. So you can also hypnotize yourself in a positive sense. So I'm going to be a better person. I'm going to quit using tobacco. I'm going to quit doing these things, and I'm going to make a difference, right? So with myself. Keep on hypnotizing and reinforcing that. Now, some people actually go so far as taking a rubber band and snap themselves on the wrist every time they do something wrong, using negative to become a positive. Now, I'm always want to use the positive, but hypnotize through positivity and through reward. That's even why, I hate, that's why casinos and gambling machines. Why do you think they're random? We don't win every time, because you can actually, with the random acts of things, it's more powerful. That was even from the studies with dogs, as a Pavlov, where they'd ring a bell, and then they'd slavitate everything because they knew they get fed, but they found out they could get dogs to behave more appropriate, or not appropriate to their way, by making random acts of sometimes it's positive, and then have a negative results where they wouldn't get fed. And boy, they said that they could get better control by actually having random acts of. That's how human behavior is. So we randomly get good out of things, then we can control you better, right? It's kind of like the lotto, sir. I mean, it's crazy, but it's true. But if it becomes so where it's so impossible, then people turn away and walk away and don't even look at it. So the way you control behavior, so it's another thing, don't do this to people. One thing is they do this to us a lot of time is sometimes, like even narcissistic parents, they'll they'll give the kids and show them love when they do that one little act that they got control of. But then 90% of the time they're naughty to them, say, hey, Susie, saw you not doing this and that way. But that's one time they'll say, I still love you. Or an event, they'll do it like in timing, like, on your birthday, I'm going to treat you special, but the rest of the year, I'm going to treat you like garbage, right? And that child's looking for that birthday. And I remember that some lady said, boy, she said every time she looked forward for a great birthday, and her mother trashed it every time, just every time on her, break her heart. But then the next day, she'd come back and say, I love you, I'm sorry I trashed your birthday. See, and it'd be really nice to her. So you got to be careful in that narcissistic behavior of them doing that to you as well. So I'm going deep here. So also, like I said, you can hypnotize yourself, right? Hypnotize yourself positive. I'm going to do better. And that's the thing I try to hypnotize myself and listen to music. And I listen over and over again and say, I want to be that person that has great things. Or sometimes I listen to great quotes. It's like, boy, that's a great quote that somebody had back in time. And you can learn even from some of the rotten ones, like some of the dictators, well, Hitler said this, Napoleon said that. So don't even judge those quotes, because there are good things in all negativity that you can take and turn into positive. That's what I keep saying. I keep saying repeat. Listen to what I'm saying. Always taking them to turn positive. That's what your God does. Everything he does, our Creator, our God, turns the negative positive. You've got to do this. You got to do it with friends, families, whatever. You always got to turn that negative positive, because we are positive. We are not positive beings or positive souls. We are not negative. We do not feed negativity. We don't draw from it. That's the thing. That's how we're going to win the system. You got to take those negatives and turn to positive. You know how Bart. Don't get revenge. Don't avenge. Don't do these other things. You got to find a way of making it positive, because that's what they've done to me. I made so many darn mistakes. I always turn to positive. So, the Lord has. The other ones have all got me focused on doing these things, right? Okay. And let's go hear this one. Okay.
Music as well. Music is a great way to get people to focus and program them. I don't want to use trouble with music. Boy, he's used all the ingredients. This sounds like Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
See how it's them banging on their hands and this and doing crazy things. He's using music, because music, rhythm, and rhyme. And that's why sometimes they said music is somebody, they used to said it was the devil's tool. Well, music can be, because boy, that really gets to people. It gets emotions, it gets moving forward. So he's using music even. If you had some kind of distracting music, they would do this, like some kind of screeching car thing, accident coming. They'd be like, "What's that noise?" So, or I'm just saying, or just some kind of music like "I love little baby ducks." They wouldn't be banging their hands like this. They'd be like, look at each other. What's going on here? So energy through music drives those emotions. It drives the hypnotism. Tries to I can control you, right? And it can be positive too. We can make people be smiling, happy through music as well. Even some of the darkest souls, it's always still positive. Darkest souls can actually find joy in music, right? And that's how we can win their hearts too, by using music, right? Kill them with kindness and kill them with music of niceness.
That's why they say music was that's Satan, because it's, always wondered why they said music is always about Satan. It's not. It's part of the topic. It's a way of programming people. You can just do the Satan symbol right there. You see it? I don't know if it's on. Yeah, do the Satan symbol. That's unreal. This is your real, folks. These people said, oh, they're hypnotized. Let's not be judged as you judge thyself, because you're hypnotized as well. Right. Back up, so I'm gonna be annoying here. I bet there's a whole show here. But anyway, I gotta keep moving and stuff like that. Shirts. This guy got a skull underneath the pineapple. You gotta be kidding me. Wow. This is a twofer. This way you can work for God and enjoy the show at the same time. So it's a win-win. I'm actually enjoying this. Oh my gosh, I found my drink. I'm gonna go back and leave my There it is. Sorry, my friend. I forgot. This guy's really getting into it. See, he's doing something he'd never done before. Though, look at him. He would do stuff he'd never done before. Power of suggestion. Wow.
Okay, I think I have a little bit here. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Thank you, Father. Like father, like son. No, it's like
Okay, no, wait, well, okay. Well, all right, I think that's
really,
it.
the church
All
is the same.
right. Okay, so that's
Music as well. Music.
There was actually a guy, I don't know if you saw in there, he was one that kicked off the audience too. And that's what happens is that during these shows, they'll select the people who are more suggestive than others, right? So what he does, he'll bring all these people up on stage, and the first minute he senses that they won't be a partake in this or do it fakely, he'll say, I'm gonna have to set you back down in the seat. He said, no offense, maybe next time. That's because he knows I can't take control of that person. That's what you need to be in this world. You need to be a free will and keep on doing that, my friends. Don't take any piece of them. You accept a piece of it, you accept all that pie of that nasty. That's why, you can't justify, say, well, I'm going to do this thing. So that's why I reject anything that's made to hurt somebody else, all of it. Because I can't justify just taking a piece of that pie and moving forward, like I said. So I'm going to reject every piece of this thing. So anyway, there was a guy I talked to. You could tell he was not. He was actually. I came and talked to him and his wife or spouse after the show, and I said, "Boy, he kicked you off immediately." He goes, "Oh, you can't convince me anything, bud." And also, so you got to realize too is I've been lied to, missed every damn thing, and had money stolen from me, and hey, I'm your best friend. I'll die for you. This and that. I've been treated so bad by some of these people in society. Gave them all my heart, and they just ended up whacking me away. That I have very little. They can't lie to me or hypnotize me either through friendship or what, right? And so anyway, it's the fear, guilt, and control matrix as well. I'm going to hypnotize because I'm going to make you fear that if you're not my friend, then you're going to have these benefits, or a spouse that say, well, I'm not going to show you love, or the guilt. If you the fear, guilt, and control, well, you should feel guilty that you're not forgiving me because I went and cheated on you, because if you truly love me, you would just let that go. So they put that false guilt. The society does it all the time with the jabba jabba Flintstone or ruse, right? The bubble gum in your thumb and stuff, right? You know what I'm talking about. What it feels. Well, if you care about these people, why aren't you doing this? Or why aren't you wearing the Lone Ranger facial thing on you, right? No, not the Lone Ranger. Trying to think of some example. Well, you know what I mean. Why aren't you one of the masked men of with a bandana on the old Wild West? If you care about these people, see the false guilt, right? Fear, guilt, and control them through brainwashing, make you fear and all these other things, right? But also can be through through love, through false love, right? People do that time, narcissist. Well, if you love me, you just accept that, right? Now, also, you got to keep in mind people do make mistakes, so be careful. By the way, mistakes, don't you get a mistake? So sometimes we do something wrong. People say we're living way off the deep end here, but keep in mind that in this movie, this drama, this thing we're involved in, this world where we're learning all these things, that sometimes we do a mistake. So God's and the Lord and all these angels and all these other things and the ones high above have to retake that and also realign your life to make that to positive. So I try to take it positive. That it was a mistake. So you had to retake that production, that Truman Show, and I'll explain more about that later in another film about a reality. But this is reality. This might retire right now, so I'll explain this too. So let's see. Is there anything else I want to add to this? Very long. Sorry, 40 minutes. But I hope it's very valuable. So I quit blabbing so much. Well, that's why we're seeing the shirts, the spelling, this thing. It says you're being bombarded, right? But remember, you have a free will. Stay with God. Have no fear. That do not be hypnotized by this as well. That hypnotism through science, through this, through the schooling system, through all these things. Now, some of those are for good reasons. I mean, I went through school and learned some great things. It kept me focused on track. And so the public school system is not necessarily a bad thing, right? And, they said people should have private school. Well, then private school, you don't get the interaction with the common, just you and me, the average people, that sometimes these kids come out of private school, they're a mess. In junior high and high school, I met them, where they had to readopt themselves into to becoming more with the common crowd, right? So you got to remember that there's a price to pay for everything, no matter what you do. That there's going to be positive, negatives, whatever experience you go through life. There's going to be it's keeping that balance between the positive, negative, and and having that thing with you. And I didn't know that our God was working constantly around me the entire life, and so probably the Lord too. And all these were, they were there the entire time. I wasn't aware of it. From the day I was born, I was like, geez, you got a kid looking back at this. Right people, right teachers, like you said. Oh, one more last thing, then I'm going to cut this off because we can add more to it and do a second part, and it's so darn long. That there was a situation when I was in college and when I was in my undergrad, that there was a professor in psychiatry that told me that this was amazing. That he said that they actually did an experiment. They did an experiment with one of the teachers, and I don't know, it's kind of a sad situation what they did to him, but they said that there was a teacher who claimed that no way could he be hypnotized. And he said they proved it because he had the students work on him, right? So what it was every day that he'd go up and start speaking in this class, that he had a trash can that was sitting across the room. So you got to visualize, this trash can. They said, well, they turned their heads down every time that he was away from the trash can. I wouldn't listen to this professor, but every time that he would start getting closer to it, they'd lift their heads up and really pay attention, like they're really enjoying smiling stuff. So the thing was I don't know, 15 feet away from where he normally stands on this when he's speaking, whatever, right? They said that they had programmed in a very short period of time, as within a few classes, that he was literally had one foot standing inside the trash can while he's talking. He literally took his foot and lifted up and stuck it in there because they just kept acknowledging him. See, acknowledgement too is acknowledging to the things he's saying to get his legs standing inside the trash can. They finally, the students, when they had his foot in his trash can, they said, so we understand that you don't think you can be hypnotized. Oh, no, I can't. They said, why is one of your legs in the trash can? You're standing in your own trash can. And he looks down and he goes, oh my goodness. He said, you rottens. And I guess he laughed. He said, oh, I didn't think it was possible. Now, so that's what I'm saying. So even you watching my videos, you give me encouragement and reward for your comments. So I love you for that, right? But make sure that you do it for the right things. If you have something to say negative, so Kirk, that's bullcrap. You didn't say it that way. Because see, I'm getting hypnotized in myself by getting a reward from you by saying that was good behavior. See, that's how you acknowledge you're rewarding the good behavior. You also reward bad behavior, right? And that's hypnotizing, right? So that's where I gotta be careful. Sometimes people have said things, you did the right thing. I'm like, no, I didn't. I look back at things I've done, a year ago, I'm like, God, that was a wrong thing to do. But at the time, everybody's telling me it was a great thing you're doing, right? So you gotta be very careful and be honest with yourself. Look in the mirror at night, and or during the day, look at that mirror and say, am I doing the right things, right? So it's very easy to lie to yourself. Remember, the easiest person to lie to is yourself. We do all the time, right? So also with that, one more quick story too is I had a guy named Abbott Fay, and he was amazing. He talked about a situation where that he was just a history professor, and he said that all his students, he had a class of, large class of about 75, and this was at he came from a very prestigious, I think it's Harvard or something. Yeah, I think it's Harvard. And he's a very great historian, by the way. He was confused. His history, he regurgitated the garbage we've been lied to about history. But anyway, there's still some facts in there, some truths, right? But anyway, so he was saying that he was in Harvard, and they said, no way could the Hitler and that reproduced the Gestapo and this and that, where the people would turn against themselves and against brothers and sisters and families. Well, he said, well, I can turn you friends against you, the ones who are you're in your sororities or even within your halls. And so I said, I guarantee you, I can become Hitler. And he said, you watch. And they said, oh, it's impossible. Oh, he did. He said that actually he got called into the a special board meeting to stop it, because apparently when the students, they said that they'd taken it too far, that when the students was, that they'd gone too far. So he apologized and they'd stop it immediately. That he actually got in trouble for it. I guess he was a younger professor. But what he did is he would award them, through getting their papers. They wouldn't have to take exams. If you did this to Sally, and if you did this to John, I'll ignore that. And I guess he'd work with other professors, even where he got to the point where he was working around them too. He just and I don't know how they made that settle at the end, but he said he'd go to another professors, hey, can you just tell them don't worry about taking that exam, or give an A when it should be a D or something. Just kind of put a little smiley there. Said I'm one of the Gestapo friends of Abbott Fay, right? So he said that he gave them these rewards, and he said pretty soon, he said the whole class was against each other. They didn't trust each other, kind of like we're seeing today, right? I got to the point where I trusted no one, because I've been beaten in so many directions that I wasn't trusting brothers and sisters. And that's why I said in my last video, you got to trust people, because in this world you get what you receive. If you don't trust anybody, you're never going to receive it, right? So we manifest those things. I'll describe out more about you get what you expect, right? So anyway, that's just amazing. Well, I'm going to cut this. I hope that, let me know if you like this or not. It's very long, but I think it's really good, and it's important to understand that, understand that these people are all asleep. And that's what the closing thing is. We got 99% of them asleep. They're asleep. They've been hypnotized. They're bent over to the system, and they're getting hypnotized every day. Further, they're going deeper and deeper. So our job is try to wake the ones that we can up. We can't wake them all up, but try to wake the ones that we can to get them to see the truth and get out of this thing, right? Some will never listen. They're so deep state, and some enjoy it. So we just, the ones that won't listen, we encourage them. Let God and let Lord, and other ones bring them into our lives. Like I said, be careful about seeking too much out there and getting out there in the wilderness, in the woods, and trying to do things, right? Let them come to us, right? And we'll talk more about that, all right? So remember, they are asleep, big time, right? We got to wake them up and throw some truth or some water in their faces, right? Baptize them with some truth and slap and get their eyes awake, wake them up, and in the morning, make them take a cold shower. All right, love you all. God bless.